Now today is a special day, but every day is a special day because the new life, which all of you have heard of, right? All of you are familiar with new life? It started today on October 16th, 1949. But as Baba has said, this new life is eternal. So the new life never ends. It's eternal. And in the message outside this hall, which is very beautiful, please do read it before you leave today if you haven't read it before. Baba says in that message that the new life is eternal. And even if there is no one to live it, the new life lives on. But what is that new life? It's a life of absolute hopelessness and helplessness with total reliance on God. It's a life of honesty. It's, of course, with the men, in a sense, they had phases in that new life. There was the begging phase when they went out begging. Baba was the companion of the companions, first among the companions. All of those who followed Baba on the new life, Baba said, whether the order is good or bad, it must be followed. But he was also a companion in the new life. Why? Because in every phase of Baba's work, from what I gather from what Erich explained, the avatar takes on certain roles or parts. Why? To help humanity. So in the new life, Baba, in a sense, became one of the companions, although he was first among the companions, and all those with him still had to follow him, absolutely explicit and implicit obedience. But he took on that role at that time of being the ordinary. When I say ordinary, anyone who's searching for God, we can't really call it ordinary, but the ordinary aspirant, meaning one in the world who is longing to renounce worldly life and live a life of absolute reliance on God. And why does he do that? Does the avatar need to be that? No, of course not. But he does that because he becomes, in a sense, as Erich would say often, a gauge for all of humanity, and to give a push of what it means to live that life. So in New Life, Baba took on that role, and there were many phases of it, and there were many rules and conditions for those who were to follow Baba in the new life. Erich would say, because many times through the years, whenever this day would come, October 16th, often, naturally, people would ask about the new life, just like Rakesh said, say something about the new life. So Erich would share things about the new life. And one of the questions that often would be asked of him would be, but the conditions of the new life, they seemed so horrendous, so difficult. You were sleeping out in the open. You had to, obey him, good, bad. You could never express cruelty. You had to be absolutely honest. I mean, wasn't it really difficult? And sometimes Erich would shrug and he'd say, well, to me, all of that was part of my life prior to the new life too. Absolute obedience was there from the beginning to the end. But what he would say was the most difficult he felt order in the new life was not the obedience per se, but one of the conditions was that you could never show your moods. You always had to remain cheerful under any conditions.
But I thought you had to be honest. I thought you had to be honest.
That too, of course.
But hide your emotion?
Yeah. Whatever you were feeling inside, as Erich would say, Baba had said there could be a volcano of emotion inside. But on the outside, you had to remain equal poised and cheerful. And I'm just extrapolating from that and saying, isn't that also one of the qualities of being a spiritual aspirant? You see, is to not be touched by your circumstance, because everything then that happens to you has come from Him. It's all from God. There's nothing but God. So if you've surrendered your life to God, then every step of the way there has to be acceptance. But in the new life, it had to be acceptance with cheer. Whatever was inside, you could keep. Likewise, the Mandali could never call Baba, Baba, Avatar, let anyone know who he was. Because in new life, he was incognito. He was one of the companions. And during New Life, Baba wanted the men to realize that he was one of them. And so if there was sweeping to be done, Baba would take part in the sweeping. If each man had to wash out their tin cup and saucer, which each one carried of their own, Baba would wash out his own. He was one of the companions, but he was first among the companions. So all these things went on in the new life, and there were many, many phases of the new life. But what to me is most touching is that the new life is eternal. And as Mani, Baba's sister, would always say, Baba himself walked the new life. And when God in human form does any action, then that, in a sense, how shall I say, now this is my words, it paves the way for all of humanity to be able to strive to live that new life. So new life is really open for all of us to live the new life. But does it mean for us to renounce our worldly existence and go out begging? Erich would say when that would be asked, and that would also be asked, how can new life be eternal? What if we want to live the new life? How can we live new life? Should I just like wear langoti and go out with the begging bowl? Because Baba did beg with the men in the begging phase. There was the langoti phase. There were these aspects of it. But what Erich would say is this. He would say, no. The new life, in a sense, is symbolic of how one is to live the new life. So how do we live the new life? We live a life of honesty. We live a life of absolute cheer, even in the most difficult circumstances. We live a life of equanimity, regardless of what is happening to us in the world. Whatever circumstances come to us, we accept them as coming from Him. How should we beg then? Baba was begging, so how can we beg? Erich would say, but to beg what? Not to beg in a begging bowl for food, like Baba and the men did, but to beg for His love, to long to love Him more and more. What is our begging bowl? Our begging bowl is this heart inside of us. So we need to